Was Anthony from Tinnitus Labs doxed as he recently claimed he was, suggesting that the author of a recently published article was trying to threaten and harm him? No, this wasn't doxing. Doxing is the reckless release of private information to incite harassment or harm. What was disclosed was his real identity in connection with documented misconduct. Anthony is not just a random person on Discord or a YouTube entertainer. Without any business doing so, he marketed a medical device. He presented it as a derivative of Dr. Susan Shore's research. He made unsubstantiated claims that it can treat hyperacusis and may treat dysacusis and a long list of other conditions. Conditions it was never tested to treat, and may not even treat tinnitus, as the device he sold is a speculative recreation based solely on publicly available information. He provided medical advice for purchasers of his untested and unregulated treatment while having no legal authority to do so. He did this while remaining anonymous, collecting personally identifying information from customers, and accepting cryptocurrency payments, limiting accountability. Making his real name publicly known is not
some kind of point, I guess.
Revealing his identity is relevant and proportionate to holding him accountable for deceptive conduct, preventing further exploitation of desperate people, and enabling scrutiny, not to incite harassment. Anonymity is not a shield for exploiting the trust of vulnerable patients or evading responsibility for promoting unsupported medical claims and selling an unproven, unregulated medical device. Let's just take a few steps back and look at what led up to the release of this article which brought about this false doxing narrative. It started on January 11th, 2026, when I borrowed his middle name. In the many months preceding, as part of what he called an identity confirmation process to weed out suspicious individuals, he had required customers to submit government-issued ID and links to personal social media accounts. During a dispute on his Discord server, where he operated his medical device project, he made it clear that he knew exactly who his customers were. Collecting IDs while selling an unregulated medical device and using that information to intimidate creates pressure. It effectively silences criticism. People hesitate to speak up when the seller has their full legal identity and is using it as a flex. And it
is not appropriate and honestly a little bit disgusting.
He later tried to pass this off as a joke.
Now, one particular message that was used pretty often as proof or definitive proof that I'm some asshole is basically an ill-mannered joke.
When you collect people's personal information and threaten to use it against them, they have every reason to believe the threat is real. Calling it an ill-mannered joke once the evidence becomes public does nothing to make it okay. So, I changed my Discord handle to include his middle name. I did not publish his full name. I did not post his address. I did not release private documents. I simply demonstrated, if you hold other people's identification hostage while staying anonymous yourself, you don't get to claim anonymity only when it's convenient. It was a signal. Accountability can cut more ways than just one. I simply borrowed his middle name, with no other context and no threats. Within days, he announced on both his Discord server and YouTube channel that he would be stepping away from the device project. He said that seeing his middle name being used on Discord, which he framed with his followers as both a threat of doxing and full-blown doxing, was the straw that broke the camel's back. What he meant by that was this was the second of two major incidents to push him to walk away from his device-selling project. The previous incident being Dr. Susan Shore and her medical device company, Oracle, issuing distancing statements, clarifying that they had not authorized Tinnitus Labs to use her name, as he had been using in his YouTube promotional videos, which served as advertisements for the device he was selling. After those distancing statements, after the Middlemane incident, his involvement with the project was suddenly over. What was he running from? Perhaps it was accountability? Just look at this waiver that he had customers sign before he would allow them to purchase a device. It's not legitimate. It openly admits the device is unapproved and unregulated, then tries to bury that under intimidating waiver language. Calling it non-profit doesn't exempt anyone from medical device laws, and you cannot contract your way out of criminal or regulatory violations. A waiver might limit some civil claims in narrow situations, but it cannot legalize illegal conduct or shield someone from liability of fraud.
And yes, participants were asked to sign a liability waiver acknowledging that this was not an approved medical device and that there was risk, including potential worsening.
The waiver reeks of fear of accountability. Every clause is designed to shift all risk and blame onto the user, with secrecy rules and legal cosplay that screen the creator knows they're operating outside the law, while thinking this waiver protects them. A few weeks after I borrowed his middle name, somebody just happened to publish an article with his full name. So, did I dox Anthony? No. Was it me that published his name? No. So who did publish that article that included his real name? Who published it is secondary. It doesn't matter any more than who types a bad guy's name into a registry. What matters is that the public is made aware of what he did and that he doesn't get to dodge accountability. And for anyone who leans into the doxing narrative, here's what that really communicates. Choosing to focus on the doxing label while ignoring this documented misconduct is a choice. That choice says, I prioritize a predator's anonymity and avoid holding them accountable rather than protecting vulnerable, desperate people from further exploitation.